Hello grapplers and welcome to a new video. Everyone has been talking about their wishes for Season 3, specifically around the drive system. I just want to give my 2 cents, throw my hat in the ring with the changes I feel I require for this game. Just fixing the drive system or changing the drive system is not enough for this game. Also has to be individual changes. And also something that, with a little bit of foreshadow I think, you cannot just universally change some things. That's why it's very important to consider the small details. I'm gonna tell you something right away. Throw loops cannot be fully removed from this game. As long as parry is in the game, as long as punish counter is in the game, throw loops are gonna be there. Because if someone gets thrown punish counter in the corner, it would be pretty strange if they completely remove the ability to throw again. Some characters are more plus than others. With a punish counter, there will be some throw loops in the game. You can increase the recovery after the throw. Instead of being here, you can be here. I'm not sure this is the right call because this could buff parry indirectly. So you would need to then again change parry. Throw loops are very complicated to balance. It's not like they press a button and the throw loops completely disappear from the game. Gonna take probably a few seasons to fix, a few patches. It's gonna take a while. And that's something that happened with Street Fighter V. With Street Fighter V, they had to, well, they made some universal changes, but manually they checked every single character. In some seasons, some characters had throw loops. They were removed. There were still some throw loops in the game, so they went little by little then, and at some point they were more or less fully removed. There's one character I feel some people mention with throw loops. Well, two, either Guile or Chun-Li. Even though she technically doesn't have a throw loop, she has the buttons to threaten and the speed of her walk. She has forward medium punch, crouching medium kick, and if you're scared, she can just throw by walking. It's not like the pressure will disappear from the corner. That's something that is also very significant to mention. Throw loops disappear, then strikes are gonna mean a lot in this game. Read a situation with Parry will be more significant. You need to check every character individually and then make the changes. Maybe some universal pushback change, but in terms of plus frames, they need to be checked individually. He's gonna be plus 17, which sounds amazing, but he cannot drive rush here. He walks too slow, so his only option is to try to catch you with standing heavy punch if you press a button. Or maybe do the standing medium punch and then be plus 1 if you block it, with no real way of keeping the pressure going. I know this is not necessarily what you wanted to hear, but this is not easy to fix. Something I've heard, I think it was Diaphone. He suggested increasing the throws, the recovery of the throws. I think this is a bad change. Throws already recover pretty slow in this game. And let me tell you, something that is super common in this game, I'm gonna just do it raw, this is not a real setup, but this is something that just happens due to how many jump-ins in this game are really strong and have good vertical hitboxes. You can get punished, jump, and then you die because you try to throw. And this is super common. And the reason why is because throws are really slow. 23 frames. And Honda has 13. Just to show Honda, other characters recover faster, of course. 18 frames. A standing heavy punch recovers faster than the throw. They need to decrease the recovery of the throws, not increase it. And the other thing they need to do, and this is super obvious for everybody, I think, if you take the throw, you shouldn't be 0, and you shouldn't remain so close to the corner. Now, how plus? This is something they need to balance very carefully. Some characters, even if you are plus, let's say plus 2 in this situation, some characters can still keep the pressure going. Like Bison, for example, with double knee press. Between a plus 2 or plus 3 could be a good baseline, because even more plus frames would be kind of wild. Like imagine you take the throw, you're plus 8 here. That would be maybe too much. I don't think that's a good idea, but let's say if you take the throw, instead of it being there, you end up here. The thing that almost every single player I've heard of is requesting is increasing the hurt box. You can already fix that by just giving the drive rush a punish counter state. I think that is enough, because if you... So again, some characters can drive rush faster than others. In the case of Honda, drive rushing for him is just the please kill me situation. Hit me in the face, please. Hit me with your best standing heavy kick or crouching medium kick. Honda, a character with this drive rush. Every time he goes for this, he's guessing. And you hit him punish counter. He loses basically the drive rush, the first bar of drive rush, and then whatever you do after. He can easily, if you have super level 3, he can easily lose 3 drive mirrors from just trying to get in. Broski showed this as an example of why her boxes need to be increased. And while this sounds wild and this looks wild, like you see Zangief here in the herbox completely doesn't align with his body, let me tell you, this doesn't mean much. All the buttons obviously push him forward in some way. He will rarely make you whiff, and his drive rush is pretty bad. This is not relevant at all, I feel, for the general discussion. You have to take into account other drive rushes like DJs. As you know, Zangief doesn't have the best Oki from SPD. And I know I'm talking about my character here, but let me cook for a second. If you do get one SPD and you drive rush, your Oki is already pretty bad. If you increase the hurtbox here, then Zangief's best tool will be to just wait, maybe? Because it is already pretty difficult to get the standing medium punch, and you don't get much from this. And doing the drive rush in the neutral is already pretty risky. I know everyone hates drive rushes and how difficult they are to actually punish. You know, the issue is not necessarily the hurtbox. The issue is the combination of the buttons you have to stop the drive rush and the speed of the drive rush. Because Zangief can somewhat kinda stop drive rushes with standing medium punch. This might be one of the best buttons in the game to stop drive rushes because it's active for 4 frames. Some characters don't have this and they get drive rushed all day, like Honda, again, like Honda. And other characters like Shadows have really good disjointed crouching medium punches. That means characters need to be changed in terms of the speed of the drive rush and the distance. And that is a way better fix than just increasing the drive rush hurtbox. Because if you add that on top of the punish counter state, it would basically stop everyone from drive rushing, and this game would become really freaking slow because people would be just walking forward back, trying to get a DRC on hit or on block. I think this is actually a weird thing. Regular parry technically has been nerfed. The hurtbox is increased, you can throw people more easily. However, I still feel it's just a free move most of the time. Especially if they nerf throws, this could become way too strong. So in order to balance, I feel it should be an entire drive meter. Now, if you perfect parry, you should recover the meter spent. I think that's fine. That's a good trade-off. So people would be more inclined to try to search or try to look for perfect parries instead of just tapping parry, which is something that happens a lot in this game. The -3 is never actually your turn in Street Fighter 6 because they can just match the parry, and with a -3 it's very likely you can catch a perfect parry. Perfect parries are complicated, I think. I think if you parry a medium, it's fine that you're that plus. A heavy, sure. Give me your best combo. The issue with perfect parry are 4 framers, because you can parry a light, of course. And if you parry a light, it will depend on the character, but usually you'll be between +8 or more, which I think is too much. This should be maximum +4, so you can still get some combos if you do a light into super level 3 or something, or you DRC from a light, and that will be already scaled. I saw Broski's video suggesting that the super should be rescaled at 10, 20% or 30% depending on the super, 1, 2, and 3. While I do agree this is interesting and it could be a way to go, it would basically mean everyone would go for super level 3, which is already the case, and super level 1, 2 would be situational depending on the character. At the end of the day, I think the main issue is the button you can get from this, because you get a punish counter here. That would mean the Ryu player can easily and visually hit confirm this by doing crouching medium punch into something. It has no real technique here. You get the perfect parry and you just do the same combo as you could because you have a guaranteed punish counter. A light starter would actually nerf your combo way more. I guess you can increase the scaling of supers after a perfect parry. The plus frames are more of my issue here because it's pretty common for final fight, final round for someone to go in for a -3 setup and just tap parry. And if the person presses a 4 framer, which should be the safest option, they get perfect parried and basically the full combo. So yeah, that needs to change. The only thing I want from Drive Impact is for characters to have the same distance of Drive Impact. It's not the same to be hit by Bison DI or even Manon's DI compared to Zangief. Zangief is super short, and you can test this just by going to training mode and start the match and just press DI. I don't reach her. However, she hits me. And they're numbers. You don't have to do this for every single character, but this is just for you to visualize how different DIs are in this game. At 26 frames, you can basically think this is reactable, and it is in some ways, but the characters with long DIs basically have a special move with 2 buttons. That means if you're, for example, I don't know, let's say you whiffed, if I'm Zangief, I whiff this. It's a Nikkei punch. They can just DI. And even if I block it, they get the positioning. So basically, every single character should have a standardized range of DI. That is the only thing I want from the eye. Finally, and this is gonna be a super controversial one. I was just thinking about this. I'm not sure. Let me preface this by saying I'm not sure about this. I'm just gonna say it. Let's say they completely changed the cost of things in the Street Fighter 6, the cost of moves and the drive system. What if they leave this as a one drive meter, the OD move? Would that be broken? But remember, they're changing everything. So this is now 2. Maybe this is 2 meters now. This, well, 3 meters is enough, I think. Considering all that, and also considering if you drive rush, now you get punished contra if they hit you, so you essentially lose more meter. Maybe in that case, OD moves could cost just one drive. They would need to be rebalanced, of course. Certain OD moves are better than others. Dry reversal. Right now, dry reversal is -6. The issue with dry reversal, I think, is that the startup of the standing version is 20 frames. 18. I think both of them should be made consistent. They should have the same startup. I don't think 18 or 20 is it. This should be more or less maybe 16 frames. They're pretty easy to bait right now. All characters have a huge punish even with a +6. Apart from that, I don't think there's much to do here. Holding the parry changes the spacing. You're gonna be closer to opponents. So that's another thing they have to take into consideration. I don't think we ever mentioned that in a real scenario. We don't talk too much about parry just being used for pushback. That's why they've taken, I feel, this long to actually address some of the things. I'm assuming maybe they're not gonna do anything to the drive system. We're all hoping and nothing changes. Because this is a pretty complicated system. It's just way too much. A lot of things depend on the speed of the drive rush, the plus frames of the drive rush, the pushback after certain things after drive rush, the drive rush cost, the juggle system with the drive rush. It's just a bunch of things. It's just too much. Right now, the drive system, even though it's complicated, I mentioned that, it is also breaking the game. It's making it not fun to play. Since a lot of characters play the same, there's a lot of issues with buttons in this game. That's something they need to, besides addressing the issues of the drive system, they need to address the pushback of buttons, because Jesus Christ, if you play this game, you know some heavies have some weird pushbacks, some special moves have strange pushbacks. It's very easy to space yourself in this game compared to even the previous version of Street Fighter 5, or even more Street Fighter 4. Being minus in this game, -4, -6, -8 even, is not the same as being minus in the previous Street Fighters. Being -6 sometimes is just, yeah, I'm gonna press my long button with a disjointed hitbox and I'm gonna beat you. That's more or less what I feel about the drive system. I really hope it's fixed. It's been 2 years plus the beta. That's a long time for basically not addressing anything about the drive system besides the drive reversal and wake up. It's not like people are gonna stop playing. I'm not gonna be a doomer over here and tell you that if they don't fix this, no one's gonna play it. People are gonna still play the game. As always, take care of yourselves, keep playing grapplers, get ready for season 3, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.